It's one thing if you guys have never seen something before. Maybe you go out there, you make a mistake, you bet an under 6.5 with the money line, and it's like, oh, I never heard Andy say that. I'm a new viewer, and I never watched that video about that. As long as you learn from your one mistake, that's completely fine. That's the normal trajectory, the normal course of events. Now, if you're still missing out on clenched ass cheeks, I don't know what to tell you. There have been multiple courses set up already. For weeks now, you guys had intro to ass cheeks 2 weeks ago on Pickin' Corners. I went into it further last week. That was like clenched ass cheeks 202. Now, once we get to the playoffs, it's going to be advanced ass cheek clenching, but we're not there yet. But you guys should be well versed. You have two teams vying for playoff positioning, low event hockey with fewer penalties called, under 6.5, under 6.5. And if you used my trick on Fanduel, no goal in the first 5 minutes, it brought both of those to plus money. That's what we were dealing with last night, and I told you the Kings are going to show you that they're going to be a nightmare to deal with, and that's exactly what no team wants to see in the playoffs. Low event hockey, a bunch of big, heavy forwards, nasty on the forecheck. They're going to be a nightmare to deal with. They have 20-goal scorers on their first, second, and third line. They're a playoff nightmare. Oh, does that mean you're saying take them to? No, because it's a gauntlet for every single team in the West. But I am telling you, they can ruin somebody's Stanley Cup playoff chances. The same exact way you saw Florida ruin people's Stanley Cup chances last year. Do not be surprised if the Kings are one of those Golden Knights team. They have that same build. Monsters out on the ice and multiple lines of 20-goal scores. So just keep that in the back of your head. And if you missed out on last night's clenched ass cheeks, there's a whole new set. It's like going on Instagram. No matter what you do, you just, oh, it's another account without, oh, what did they show me on the For You page? Just another set of ass cheeks. Okay, another set of ass cheeks. Just rewarding ass after ass after ass after ass. But apparently, Sydney Sweeney is trying to change that. And if you watched my last podcast, I am all here for that. Anyway, you guys are probably all here for some of my Tuesday picks. It's a rather big Tuesday slate. As always, I will focus on those clenched ass cheeks, and I will focus on games that matter the most and maybe try to shift, because when you're dealing with, the Ducks and the Sharks and what's going to happen? What, you going to tell me, no, Andy, the Sharks concede against left wingers? Throw it all out the window. It doesn't matter at this point of the year. None of the season-long metrics, when the bad teams kind of care, apply. It's all willy-nilly out there. And the one thing I do know is the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers, as I told you yesterday, are vying for tops in that division. They're vying for the President's Trophy. And this is your standard wake up in the morning, look out the window during the spring and early summer while the playoffs are going on and say, oh, that's a set of ass cheeks out there. That's an under 6.5. I'm going to do the same exact thing, the same tricks, under 6.5 in that game. And if you want, you can take no goal in the first 5 minutes, and that will take it to a plus money bet. But like I told you on FanDuel, they have multiple options to help you chop down those lines. You can take someone like Vlad Tarasenko, under half of a goal on him. We'll see if Barkov comes back. But by the way, that's another reason you should like that under 6.5. Two teams with a lot to gain and a decent amount to lose in terms of where they end up in the standings. That's a classic under 6.5. And I'm looking across the board. I see more. I see the New York Rangers also vying for that President's Trophy, with the Philadelphia Flyers trying to stay in that third spot in the Metro. That's another clenched ass cheeks game. You got a lot on the line. You got Shesterkin playing great. The only thing that would concern me a little bit, but they've kind of eased my fears based on these last couple of games. The Rangers, remember I was telling you they lost 2 of their top 6 defensemen? Well, now they lost Gustafsson, so they've lost 3 of their top 6 defensemen. But the good thing is, if Philly does get up, Tortorella style, they will play defensively, try to hold on, try to clamp things down the best that they can. And I think this is another opportunity. Under 6.5. What do you want me to say? I don't like that I'm winning in a way that's not exciting. There are times to be excited. I gave you months. I go, this is all fake hockey. Nothing counts. Who cares if the Kings are all right? 2 points for this guy, 2 points for this guy. There's a time for that. There's a time when the parents are away. They're not away anymore. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. This is the time where you got to get your act together. It's 40 days of night. The sun's not coming up until next fall, and the vampires are in town. There's only one thing you can do, and that's you take unders in clenched ass cheek games. So we're going to take the under on the Flyers, Rangers, and the Bruins-Panthers. And yeah, why not? We don't even have to bump this one up. The under 6.5 in the Vegas Golden Knights Nashville Predators game. You know the kind of goaltending Nashville's getting. They just played in a 1-0 game with Detroit. You had a 1-0 game with 5 minutes left in the third in this Vegas game last night against the Blues. Ended up going to overtime 2-1. The only concern here is that Vegas is going to be playing their third string goalie because Thompson played last night. Hill is injured, so they're going to their third string goalie. And if you think that's going to make the game crazy, I don't think so. I think the gameplay trumps whoever's in the net. I think the amount of pucks that goalie sees is based on what the team does in front of him. And if you look at Vegas this last 5 games or so, they're playing a lot better defense. I'm going with the under 6.5 in all 3 of those games. That's right. I'm going to force you guys, like people who refuse, no, I want to bet the over on point props. Okay, you want to bet the over on point props? Well, then at least try to isolate and target a game where those point props will present themselves, not a game that has clinched ass cheeks potential. And the game that I'll be looking at is this Arizona Coyotes game. If you look at Schmaltz and Keller, doesn't matter who they're playing. They could be playing a tough opponent like Dallas in the last game, or they're tying it up against the Kraken in the last second. Schmaltz and Keller, same line, same power play. They've been doing great. They have a matchup that they can score some goals in. So you can take both of them for a point. That's been at plus money. It should at least continue to be at plus money. And if you take both of them for 2 points, it's not even that good of a value. So I think I'm just going to keep it. Point for Schmaltz, point for Keller. Is that a little bit better? That's what you have to do if you're looking for these player props. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you. I know the majority of people like betting crazy overs, and I told you the way you can hit huge parlays in the NHL is by guessing which games go off. Games are way less likely to go off unless 2 teams just don't give a rat's ass, but 2 bad teams can also not give so much of a rat's ass that they're just lollygagging 3-1 Senators-Ducks games. We're trying to sift through the weeds. The things that I'm trying to give out are games that mean a lot. And now I know you're probably cursing at you. What about the game we all want to know about? I already told you what I'm going to be doing in that game. I'm rooting for Washington so that I can get an unbelievable price and bet against them. I'm also working on somewhat of a scam where I'm going to put an absurd amount on Washington to not make the playoffs. The same thing I showed you guys yesterday. They're going to be underdogs in essentially every game. Like their next game, what is it, on the road against Toronto? Okay, what are they going to be? Plus 200 underdogs? If they go down 1-0 in that game, the live line is going to be like plus 300. I'm going to take spritzes on the Capitals at opportune moments from here to the end of the season to hedge those bets in the off chance they win those games. And I won't even have to put that much back into it because they're that bad of a team and the lines are going to be so crazy. So I'm running a scam. Who do I think is going to win this game? It's tough to say because people finally think Washington's going to win, and I couldn't think of a time for them to get more smacked than that. I'm rooting for Washington to win so that I could then root for their ultimate demise. And anybody who said in the comments, I looked at one and I ran away because I'm like, God, I don't want to see anything else. They said like, oh, well, I looked at Washington's schedule, and yeah, there were those tough games that you said, the 2 against Boston and the Carolina one and the Toronto one, but outside of that, they have one against Buffalo, but this is one of the worst teams in the league. There's no such thing. They can play the Ducks every single game the rest of the way and lose every one of those games. This is not some like kind of bad team. This is negative 25 goal differential team. The Senators can wax them by 6 easily. So there's not going to be some game. Like if that game in Ottawa, if that's a road game against Ottawa, they're going to be underdogs. That's how bad this team is. So I'm going to concoct some Dr. Wiley mad scientist plan to guarantee myself money, knowing that Washington is going to be massive underdogs a few times along the way, and hedge it with live bets. Oh, but Andy, I can't do all that stuff. Yeah, well, that's why you don't have a car, and I absolutely do. And that is what I have for you here on a relatively packed Tuesday. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you are subscribed here to my YouTube channel. All your comments and likes and engagement, it's all appreciated because it helps the algorithm send it to just a few more people. And then more people learn about clenched ass cheeks. And also, as people are commenting, I just can't go down to the comment because I just struggled. I don't even want to see what a gargoyle says. If somebody says, hey, what's a bump it up under? What's a parlay pirate? What's a clenched ass cheek? The figured clenched ass cheeks. Let them know. Fill them in. Fill them in because there's only so much I can do. Or you guys can always join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess. That is where I get all the information throughout the course of the day and update the post with multiple parlays and different things. I'll be able to see the Fanduel prices and whatnot and pick which guys. If I see some line movements, they changed this line and this guy's demoted to the third line, like the Bjorkstrand thing that we've been talking about, I would have taken the under half of a goal on Bjorkstrand to knock down an under 6.5 in that Canadiens game. There are all sorts of tricks. So that's where I'll be putting the parlays. And as I said yesterday and a couple times before that, there are going to be no videos Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I will be back Monday. So if you want the picks throughout that stretch, just go to patreon.com/Andy Francis. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Good luck.